Busy times, I guess. All right, guys, let's get to it. We have a great weekend ahead. And, Saturday is going to be an amazing day of basketball at the University of Arizona. Obviously we have college game day here. Our women's basketball game plays, Arizona State. We play, obviously, Texas Tech in a game we're excited about. And I even heard a rumor that Mixmaster Mike might be performing at the Bear Down Bash at 1:30 p.m. So I don't know how much bigger it gets than that. So let's do this.
What value do you take as a program having something like game day here?
Well, it's awesome. Obviously game day is an honor. There's only, I don't know, like I wouldn't know how many weekends. It's not a lot. I'm guessing less than 10, weekends a year, and you're one of the programs, they've chosen to showcase. And so I think it says a great thing about our legacy, and I think it says a great thing about, the season our team is having. So it's an honor to have them here. You could put it in, is it a distraction category? No, not at all. It's an honor, and we embrace it. And when you're at a place like Arizona, basketball means a lot. And anything you can do to promote your program in the university is a good thing.
Will the players be involved in any way?
I don't know the exact script. You'll probably have to go over Nate with the details of that stuff. And for the most part, we try to keep it as normal for our guys as possible. Obviously, there's a lot of moving parts right now as you get later in the season, and there's a lot of, and that comes from a lot of excitement. So but the main thing for us is playing well in the game. And the circus around it's a good thing, but the main thing for me as a coach is to make sure our team's prepared to play.
You had mentioned after the game that you felt like the season starts now for your club. How do you feel they've reacted the last few days?
Great. Obviously, we were on a little bit of a run. I was never delusional and thought that it was our God-given right to win every game. And, Kansas gets a ton of credit and an awesome atmosphere. Their best players out, and I found a way to get it done. And for us, I'll give our guys credit. I didn't think we played great. I thought we could have maybe finished some easy shots a little bit better that would have made a difference. But we gave ourselves a chance into the end. And so I think there's a lot to learn from it. And, we've kind of taken the last couple of days to digest it. But now, we have a heck of a stretch coming up. And it starts with Texas Tech. And, I think you got Texas Tech, BYU, Houston, pretty much in like a 8-day window. That's pretty awesome. So we need to gear up for that, and for us, it's always been about moving forward. So that's what we're going to do.
What lessons from Kansas game now apply moving forward?
Whatever, it's what it always comes down to. It's always the controllables. We do a little bit better, with our scouting reports and with our personnel, understanding the personnel tendencies. Can we, on offense, you run something, you execute something, at the end of the day, you got to deliver. You got to make the shot or finish the easy shot. And those are the ones we put value in is, those easy shots in the paint. We take a lot of pride in being able to finish those. To me, it's just that, those are the things we're going to focus on. I didn't think there was anything glaring. So, we'll just get back to it. I think it's a great experience for our guys to go through.
Speaking of that, was there anything with Koa specifically? I mean, he's been so consistent in there. Differences. Are people playing him different?
I don't think so. This obviously wasn't his best game, but we know what kind of competitor Koa is, and I expect him to respond. I don't see any trends developing.
Your team has shot free throws very well this year, maybe not so much the last two games. Have you pinpointed maybe why they've been on?
I would have liked to shot more free throws at Kansas to give us a chance to shoot them well. I think we were 8 of 14 or something like that, and that's a little bit lower than the number we're used to shooting. But that's how the game was officiated. So we have to adjust and move on and take advantage of the opportunities we do get.
Texas Tech is basically taking more than half their shots from threes, and I think Alabama might be the only team that you've faced to this point that's been like that. How different is that compared to just what you've seen as far as teams that are so focused on the perimeter?
Well, Texas Tech's a great team, and obviously they have a great coach, and you guys know he and I have a long relationship. They really have a great ability to focus on the things that they feel like drive winning for their program, and they recruit to it, they coach to it, and they're going to put you in a ton of situations where you have to make a decision. Are you going to put two guys on the ball, and they're really good once you get in rotation and of finding shooters, and they surround a an All-American player with great shooters, and that's a great formula. And they have a dynamic playmaker, who they can put the ball in his hands, and he can create shots for others and for himself. So, they do a really good job of putting you in a bind defensively and forcing you to make a lot of decisions. And they hang a couple things over you. If you don't get enough help here, we think our big guy can score enough points to basically do a lot of damage. If you start bringing help here, we think we've surrounded them with a lot of shooters, and we can find them to do a lot of damage. So that puts you in a conundrum for sure.
I think specifically Toppin doing different things with maybe a lot more spacing, I guess. It seems.
I mean, not really. I mean, it's they. I mean, obviously they're doing a few things different than last year, but I wouldn't say anything drastic. They had them surrounded with really good shooters last year. So they have a good formula for sure.
What's your experience with Christian Anderson, especially after facing him last summer in that gold medal game?
I mean, I don't really personally know him, but he seems like a great kid, and Grant said great things about him, and he's a really good player. I mean, he's a really good player who's continued to get better, and you could see it last year. I think he surprised a lot of people, and then obviously I got to see him over the course of the summer while coaching USA basketball, and you could see the next steps happening, and now it's all kind of come together for him. So he gets a ton of credit.
What's a guy like that different to scout him when he's playing for Germany versus this team?
I mean, of course, there's always differences because it's based on a lot of times what their team's doing, what our team's doing. We don't always do the same things, and then what personnel's around them, what personnel each team has. But a lot of the common threads are there. He played a pretty similar style for Germany that he's playing now. I mean, he's a very good ball control point guard. Who can hurt you from deep. He can make mid-range tough mid-range shots. He's getting down in the paint, finishing, and he can set his teammates up. So he's pretty dynamic.
How would you describe the reaction of the team after the loss? Were they angry?
No, they're fine. I mean, they're fine. I mean, I'm sure they don't love it, but they're fine. You work on a culture all year round, to be able to respond to things like this. And, we obviously we all know as competitors that losing is part of the equation. So you have to be able to handle that. I mean, there's no panic. And guys, I hate to break it to you, we might lose another game or two or three. I don't know. I mean, we could lose Saturday. I don't know. But you got to keep it moving. You got to keep it moving. And you have to have faith and trust that you're building for something bigger.
Do you feel like Kansas was doing something where it was causing you guys to settle more for jumpers than being able to get into the lane?
I mean, and nothing crazy. I mean, nothing that we really haven't seen. I mean, they had great rim protection, and you're saying settle for jumpers. When I went back and watched the film, I see a lot of missed paint shots. So I don't know necessarily if they were doing anything crazy or different, but they do have some good length around the rim for sure.
Of the streak while it was going on, but do you feel like maybe at least externally it takes a little pressure off that people aren't going to be saying?
Not really. I honestly don't feel any different now than I did last week or the week before. I was tired the last couple of days because getting back from Kansas at 3 a.m. and getting back to it, it's not always easy. But yeah, no, I feel great now, and I'm excited for the opportunities that lay ahead. I mean, I'm a now and next guy. I don't spend a lot of time worrying about things that happened last week.
The new glass floor at the conference tournament. What do you know about that?
I don't know much. Obviously there's been some discussions, about it internally, with them, disclosing that it's an option, and they pulled the trigger. So, I hope it's pretty cool. I mean, I hope it doesn't impact play. I'm all about the game, so I hope it doesn't impact play. And if it, brings good attention to the conference, I guess that's a good thing.
You mentioned this on Tuesday night, but would you consider Kansas the most physical team that you guys have come across this season?
I don't know. I don't know if the most physical, but they're definitely physical. I mean, I'd have to sit down and think about that. But no. Kansas is a really good team, and Coach Shelf's a great coach. And guys, I know it's hard for you to sit in here that haven't been there. If you've never been there, it's different. And I'll let Bruce come up here after, and he can tell you how different it is. I'll let Brian Jeffries come up here later. He's been to a lot of places. He could tell you how different it is. It's not an overreaction for me. That place is different. They got an incredible environment. They got an educated fan base. They got an amazing legacy, and you feel it. And that's only a compliment to them, and it's not a slight to anybody else. Yeah, it's still ringing right now. Yeah. But luckily, I listen to my Mixmaster mic stuff really loud, so like I'm maybe trained.
Because we were up at the top, I always wonder like what it's like.
Were your ears ringing?
I had my earbuds in the whole time.
You're smarter than me.
Do you have any, did you have any input on the Galaxy Slam uniforms that you guys are wearing next week? As far as
Well, listen, all things equipment-wise, I'm going to refer to Emoy, Brian Brigger. But, that was definitely an idea that, we kind of talked about as a staff, and we made some connections on the other side of campus. And I think it's really cool that to be able to combine those two forces. I love being a college basketball coach because you're part of a bigger university community. And I think that's really important. And anytime you can kind of bridge the gap between athletics and the other side of campus, I think that's really, really cool. And there's some amazing things going on at the University of Arizona that maybe don't get as much attention as basketball that need to be showcased a little bit. So I think this is a great opportunity. We're not the first people in the world to have this idea, so we don't get all the credit. I think UCF's done a good job with theirs, but this can be our own version of it because we have our own story that needs to be told. And if basketball can be a platform to help tell some of these stories, let's do it.
Your biology major hat back on then?
I did speak last night at the thing. I asked if you were there, Bruce. And you weren't.
I was actually gonna go. I did watch it on YouTube though. It was,
So because when I heard you weren't there, I finally was able to open up.
Well, I did have one question about that, and that was the whole koala thing. Is that what led you to Australia after? You said you
Well, that's a longer story for maybe you and me at Bob Dobbs, but there is some truth. I actually did write a thesis, and it was the topic did revolve around koala fecal pellets. There's a lot of truth to that. Yeah. So we can share the report and the findings later. I wasn't published. I'm devastated.
I mean, I was just curious, like, what led you to that of all the things you could have picked for your thesis or whatever?
Basketball. A guy on the team that I was with was connected with it, and I needed to write a thesis, and he happened to be a research expert in the area of koala bears. So he teed me up. It was an awesome experience.
You have used the term hubris a number of times this year. We had a young man call the post game the other day, and we asked him to spell hubris. He did. Can you spell hubris?
Can I spell it? Hubris. I mean, I did okay in the spelling bee. That girl Jessica got me every year, though, at the end. There's 3 ways to spell there, isn't there? Yeah. So I always got stuck on that one.
I know you didn't want to make a big deal of Darren Peterson the other day. I was just curious if you or any of your staff had any communication with Big 12 as far as how that handles with the report.
No. We have, I mean, that might be a great follow-up for you. I heard there's a guy named Matt Inzer in the offices that the Big 12, you might have a direct line to him. Chase it down. Oh, yeah, for sure. It's a great thing. I'm happy to announce, not only is it going to be Valentine's Day on Saturday, but our own Caleb Love is coming back to be, honored and be put up in the Ring of Honor. And he is, I'm sure he'll be available for you guys, but I think this is a really cool thing. You guys know Caleb has a special place in my heart. For Caleb Love to be inducted in the Ring of Honor on Valentine's Day, which just happens to be the date the state of Arizona was officially founded on February 14th, 1912. That's a lot. So that's really cool. And so it's really going to be really cool to have Caleb back here for a few days. And I'm just so proud of him. He's had a journey that's been well documented, and we don't need to rehash that. But he came here, and Arizona, was a place that was able to kind of give him a second chance at it, and he crushed it. And he didn't get drafted. which, is maybe a debatable decision by a lot of people, but I think he's proven his worth. And his first half of the NBA season, I think he's averaging double digits for the Portland Trailblazers. So happy for Caleb, and am not surprised at the success he's having, and hope you guys are able to do some really cool stuff with him coming back.
The way he's playing even surprised you a little, because I remember last year, I think it was June when you met with us, you said he's going to play in the league, and a couple of us were like, "Are you sure about that?" There was some doubt.
You were
right?
skeptical of something I said, Bruce? I didn't. I thought everything I said you took at face value and ran with it.
Well, I think that's part of the thing. Is
I have a lot of belief in that guy. I have a lot of belief in Carter Bryant. These guys are good players. They're gonna find their way. They're gonna be good, and it was a privilege to coach them, and hopefully we help them in their pursuits of their dreams, and I'm excited for what they're doing.
I know they were on different teams, but if it comes heads up, who's winning the dunk contest, Carter or Kashad?
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I think Rocky Gronkstone is the dark horse in the whole thing. Am I breaking news there that he's in the dunk contest? Okay. I don't know. We'll see. I wish them both the best of luck, and I don't even know when that deal is. I was hoping then they probably won't be able to come to the game. I was hoping a few more guys could pop through this weekend, but unfortunately they're going to be busy.
I think the thought on Caleb though was, isn't there sort of a thought that it's really hard sometimes as a two guard. There's tons of guys like that. Do you really have to distinguish yourself, or was there something about Caleb in that you saw?
I just felt like his skill set really translated to the NBA game, and I thought if given the chance, what he has been through is going to serve him well, because he's had the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. And a lot of times when a young player goes to the NBA, they haven't yet experienced the lowest of lows. So I think in order for you to ultimately be successful at that level, we have to know how you're going to respond to struggle. And he had been through the struggle and he'd come out of it the other side. So I was really confident that, he was going to earn his opportunity. And once he earned his opportunity, he was going to take advantage of it.
So that sounds like Caleb's level of maturity.
Caleb's a super mature guy. He always has been. I never had one issue, a maturity issue, behavioral issue, anything, coaching Caleb in 2 years. He was awesome. And I'm super proud of what he's doing, and I think it's going to be really cool to have him come back this weekend and give him a big hug.
You and Grant probably got used to playing each other, 3 times last year. You have a protocol now where you stop texting within a week of the game or anything?
I don't think there's anything like that. No protocol. Obviously, we're busy. There's going to be a lot of things going on. So, it's hard to connect. And when you're on the road, I think for me, whenever you're on the road, you kind of cherish that time because it kind of gets you away from everything where there aren't a lot of distractions and you can really kind of focus on your team. And so I'm sure coming on the road, they'll do that. And sometimes when you're at home, there's a lot of moving parts that you're juggling, family, friends, that you have of your own, that your assistant coaches having guests, your players, all their families are in town, somehow Mixmaster Mike's in town. You got a lot of things going on. So you got some stuff to juggle. And so I mean, it's what I'm saying is it's really hard to kind of find time to connect and hang out. In these types, because I'm sure they'll arrive tomorrow afternoon and they'll take off Saturday after the game, and just it's a lot of things in that short time span.
Well, back last summer when you guys were in Switzerland, did you talk at all about the times you played, the 3 games you played last year?
Not really. I mean, our friendship goes way beyond competing against each other. So, no. I mean, we obviously have talked a lot of basketball over the years. To be honest with you, those conversations probably don't happen as much now as they used to. But I'm really happy for Grant, and nothing surprises me with the success he has.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.